たの？
みくりさんとバトル。
シルタリスをゲット。
サトシ。
セレナ、
久しぶり。
元気だったか？
めっちゃ元気。ピカチュウも元気そうだね。ピカチュウ知り合いだったの？
一緒に旅した仲間なんだ。
Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokémon Journeys episode 105, Eevee and Sylveon, a meeting and a reunion. This was the 1190th episode of the Pokemon anime, and it was the most nonchalant way they could have possibly executed a Serena return. I mean, there was no hype at all leading up to this, they just dropped Serena in out of nowhere. Wow, let's break it all down. The episode starts at the Cerise lab, where a Yamper belly rub session is interrupted by Krista asking Chloe if she wanted to go meet a Sylveon in Lily Cove City. Apparently, Kylie, the Vaporeon trainer from episode 63 of Journeys, heard about a trainer with a Sylveon participating in a contest there. Professor Cerise reveals that Ash and Go are also headed to Lily Cove City, with Go deciding that he wanted to catch himself in Altaria after seeing Ash battle Drosnas. Chloe and Eevee are excited and let off my favorite let's go of this entire series. I absolutely love this part. It's pretty cool that Lily Cove City is the location where Chloe and Eevee met their first evolution as well as meeting their final evolution, but they don't just run into Sylveon right away, instead they show up at the Lily Cove contest hall. Outside, Licia is there ready to do some contest scouting. Now, I can't confirm this myself, but apparently at one point in this scene, the people in the crowd yelled something along the lines of, "Can you please scout me as your boyfriend?" which is hilarious. I will say that I don't really like Licia, at all. She's really annoying in the games in my opinion, and she is pretty similar here, just coming up to Chloe and annoying her and making her feel uncomfortable. Standard stuff for Licia, I guess. Anyways, we'll get back to them in a minute, but first we see Go failing to catch an Altaria. I can't believe he found one so easily, but they are both shocked when they see Chloe on TV, and notice here that the verbiage Licia uses is contest lives, which is what contest spectaculars are in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. After Licia is done bugging Chloe, Eevee runs off towards something. She must have sensed that a Sylveon was nearby as they run into the Sylveon that they came here to meet, but who's its trainer? Is that Serena? She kinda looks like Serena, but that's a weird looking outfit. She recognizes Chloe as the person that Licia scouted, and she introduces herself as Serena. I can't believe it. Serena actually returned. And do you know what that means? Bingo! And wait, guys, we actually got a bingo!
Oh my god!
I can't believe it. Holy cow.
Come on. Humunga Dunga, the firepower.
Where there's a town, there's a hamburger.
Yum.
I couldn't really think of a good way to celebrate finally getting a bingo. I did not expect it to be that column, although I did think that Serena would return eventually. I wonder how we'll get our next bingo. Back to the episode, Serena explains that she has been participating in contests just like Licia, and then the two start telling stories about their Eevee. We get some XY flashbacks, and I was just disappointed that we didn't get to see the adorableness that was Serena's nervous Eevee. They have a similar discussion to how Chloe has interacted with all of the previous evolution trainers, but then the topic shifts to how Serena used to be a lot like Chloe, without a goal or dream of her own, but that did change when she first saw Pokemon performances. This nice conversation is rudely interrupted by Ash and Go calling Chloe, but Serena is polite and doesn't eavesdrop on the phone call too much, so she has no clue that Ash is on the other side of the line. The boys hang up pretty quickly after telling Chloe that they'll meet her at the contest hall, but Chloe still isn't convinced that she actually wants to participate in the contest. Serena pretty quickly persuades her to give it a try, using some callback phrases from XY to help motivate her. Checking back in with Ash and Go, and here we go, this scene was incredible. So Wallace just randomly appears for the first time in 645 episodes. Yeah, it's been a while, and he recognizes Ash instantly. Ash, on the other hand, does not, and they continue on their way to the contest, until Wallace stops Ash in his tracks and asks him if he remembers when May and Dawn entered the Wallace Cup. Hey, doesn't Wallace remember that Ash made the quarterfinals of that competition too? Anyways, this triggers Ash's memory, and we get this cool visual in what is May's first appearance in Journeys, albeit not a physical appearance. Now that Wallace's ego isn't totally shattered, he explains how his niece, Licia, is competing in contests, and that reminds Ash and Go that they need to be on their way to make it in time for the contest to start. Wait, Wallace isn't letting Ash get away that easily. He challenges Ash to a battle after saying that although Wallace himself isn't in the World Coronation Series, he can hold his own against Hoenn's champion when it comes to battles. Ash instantly recalls that Steven is Hoenn's champion, which was another gut punch to Wallace. Go is ready to get to the contest, but Ash accepts Wallace's challenge, and their battle gets underway off-screen. I do think it's interesting to point out, just before we move on here, that although Steven was brought up at this point, Wallace did not say whether or not he was in the World Coronation Series, so I guess it's still up in the air, but I feel like if Steven was in the Masterclass, then Wallace probably would have confirmed that for us right here. Back at the contest hall, Chloe is trying to pick out a costume to wear, and Serena says that this dress was worn by the dancing girl of Hoenn. At least that's what the subtitle said, but I have also heard people say that Serena used the phrase the princess of Hoenn right here, which would be a reference to May, of course. Serena even gives Chloe's Eevee a little accessory using her "ta-da" line. This episode was filled with little XY callbacks, including the background music. At one point, I did actually consider making a discussion video about how Chloe's contest outfit were references to potential May or Serena returns, but I decided, nah, that is way too clickbaity and unrealistic, and decided against it. Shows what I know. Now that the girls have their appearance figured out, they decide to work on what their performance will actually look like, but that once again happens off-screen. We jump to the start of the contest, which Go has to watch on his phone because Ash is too busy battling. I'm surprised Go didn't just leave Ash, but I guess that shows just how close Go is to Ash. I also like how Ash's Dragonite is once again fulfilling its quota of battling exactly once every 40 episodes. This means that the next time we'll see it is in episode 2 of Ash and Leon's battle in Pokémon Journeys episode 145. As that battle rages on, so too does the normal rank portion of the contest spectacular, with Chloe nervously awaiting her turn. Serena is there to motivate her once again, and I am pretty sure Serena is once again just quoting Ash from XY, but since I didn't watch XY subbed, I am not 100% sure on that. It's finally time for Chloe to take the stage, and everyone is watching. Well, except for Ash and Wallace. Back at the Cerise lab, Krista and Ren announce the start of Chloe's appeal as if it's some kind of dangerous emergency, but Professor Cerise is just shocked to see that his daughter is actually competing in the contest. This next scene is, quite frankly, amazing, as we see flashbacks from all 8 of Chloe and Eevee's meetings with the Eeveelutions, and I thought it was strange to see Eevee glowing with so many different colors. It was almost as if it was capable of using Copycat on any move at that moment, but they decided to go with Fairy Wind and then tackle the Fairy Wind. That was it. That was it? What? Well, that sucked. That was such a nothing performance. Everyone seemed to love it though, so what do I know? But wow, that was so underwhelming to me. We skip to the master rank of the contest spectacular, so that means it's time for Serena's performance. Their introduction for her is kind of strange, but hey, it's cool to see her full team again, although they do kind of brush over the fact that her breaks-in evolved into Delphox. Their performance is way better than anything else we see in this episode, as she even pulls off a better ice chandelier than Dawn ever did. The only other contestant we see is Licia, who the crowd are absolutely in love with. Idol culture is so strange to me, and her performance is more or less just Mega Evolving and then Altaria using Draco Meteor as the finale, which did look really cool to be fair. Less cool was Wallace's Milotic, which apparently was defeated by Ash and Pikachu. This means that Ash won this epic battle against Wallace, and he presents Ash with a Rain Badge as a reward. Of course, Ash already has a Rain Badge from defeating Juan back in AG, so I don't know how legit Wallace's badge is. Is he even a gym leader right now? Anyways, Wallace isn't done celebrating Ash's grand victory, as he even gives up his scarf for Ash to wear, and I just can't help but laugh looking at Pikachu in this shot. While Wallace keeps on talking, we see that Serena and Licia somehow tied for first place in the master rank. No word on what the results were of the normal rank, but who cares about that, because we immediately skip to Chloe and Serena out on the pier at sunset, where Serena gives Eevee that pink ribbon, since every Eeveelution trainer is contractually obligated to give Chloe and Eevee something to remember them by. Serena asked Chloe what she thought about contests, and Chloe was happy to try something new, but she certainly didn't commit to doing any more contests in the future, which I think a lot of people are relieved to hear. Serena reveals that Licia offered to form some kind of idol duo with Serena. I would turn that down in a heartbeat personally, but those two both recite the same line that Serena was using earlier, showing just how quickly they bonded as well as how much Chloe has learned from Serena. The boat is about to leave, so the girls say their goodbyes and promise to meet again one day, and oh, finally, look who decides to show up. It's Ash and Go arriving very late to the party. Go reveals that he did catch an Altaria in the end, but Serena cuts them off, shocked to see Ash again. Ash was in such a rush that he didn't even recognize Serena in her new outfit as he ran past, but their reunion can't last very long as the boat takes off immediately after they start talking. I thought Ash's line here was hilarious, saying that he's competing in this championships thing. What a way to describe the World Coronation series. Serena mentions how she's competing in contest spectaculars and that she's aiming to be the best, just like Ash is. They wave goodbye to each other as the boat sails off into the distance, and these lights turn green in some veiled reference that literature nerds will recognize. With that, Serena and Sylveon run off. Who knows if we'll see them again? Well, the episode ends by wondering what could be next for Chloe. Well, that was quite the eventful episode. I still can't get over how Serena returned despite them not advertising it at all. That is such a strange marketing decision to me. Of course, it wasn't a surprise that Serena returned in this episode since I was unfortunately spoiled about her return just like quite a lot of other people were. I've talked about it before, how I always try to avoid spoilers from things like episode titles, summaries, or any kind of leaks that may happen, and wow did this episode get ruined because of some leaks. That's just my opinion, of course. I know some people were all over these leaks, and if anything, it just added to their excitement for this episode, but for me, I was just super disappointed to find out about Serena's return this way. Anyways, no one wants to hear me cry about how I got spoiled, and putting that aside, there is a lot to analyze and discuss about this episode. Serena's return may not have been the big shocking moment that I wish it would have been, but overall, the episode was still really good. Although she didn't technically return in this episode, May was featured as well. That now leaves Max as the only main character who has not yet appeared in Journeys in any way, shape, or form. I wonder if he will ever show up on our screens. When this Chloe and Eevee meeting the Eeveelution storyline started nearly 50 episodes ago, we all had big hopes that characters like Gary and May and Serena would be used to show off their Eeveelutions. But instead, we just got a bunch of randoms, aside from Erica, who was very random in her own right. For the 8th and final Eeveelution though, the anime actually gave us what we wanted, a Serena return. I'm not exactly sure if this is the Serena return that we all hoped and dreamed of, but I think I am right in saying that this episode has generally received rave reviews. I know it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, especially with Ash vs. Wallace mainly happening off screen, as well as contest spectaculars being presented as, well, not very spectacular in my opinion, but neither of those details really matter that much to me. I think Serena did a great job interacting with Chloe, and I love how Ash's former traveling companions have helped Chloe's development, although I will say I think Dawn did it better, but hey, Serena's return wasn't bad either. The real star of this episode for me was Wallace though. I thought he was absolutely hilarious. I don't care at all that we didn't get to see his and Ash's battle because Wallace as a character was way more entertaining than I expected, and anytime he was on the screen, I was laughing with a huge smile on my face. I actually would have found it really funny had Ash and Serena just never crossed paths in this episode, and I thought we were setting up for that, but nope, right at the very end, these two did reunite. I was really curious to see what direction the writers would go with an Ash and Serena reunion, and I thought they cleverly worked their way out of a potentially awkward situation by having Ash's boat take off just as they started talking. Just a simple restating of their goals, as well as them each promising to do their best and encouraging one another. It was simple, but effective in my opinion. Now seems like as good a time as any to say that I'm giving this episode an 8 out of 10 rating. That might seem low for a lot of people, but I don't know, even if I thought Wallace and Serena both played their roles well in this episode, it was still missing that something special to push me towards a higher rating. Chloe was the focus of this episode after all, and I thought her performance was just laughable, but I guess that wasn't meant to be the most important thing in this episode. I don't think this was the start of Chloe's career as a coordinator or a performer, and I am genuinely curious to see what her next step is with Eevee. I think that's a big reason why I can't give this episode an even higher rating, since I'm already looking ahead at what might potentially happen with Chloe and Eevee now that they have met all 8 of the Eeveelutions. I can't spend too much time looking forward to that though, as the next episode is going to be a Team Rocket focused episode. I always love getting episodes all about these lovable idiots, and this one comes relatively soon after their last escapade. I honestly have no clue what's going on with them hosting a radio show, but it looks like this episode has the potential to be really funny, so we'll have to wait and see if it can deliver on that. As for me though, I have to go prepare to win a speed race of Pokemon Emerald. This is kind of an event that I've started doing in my Discord server every so often. It's where I race other people to see who can beat a Pokemon game from start to finish while super speeding on an emulator. I think I'll be able to defeat Wallace just like Ash did at this episode, but it'll probably take me about 2 hours to do so this Saturday night. I'm hoping I can beat the game that fast. Feel free to join my Discord server if you want to join in on any of that fun, but regardless, I do hope that you enjoyed this video. I am curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We're closing in on 6,000 subs thanks to your guys' incredible support. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.